Shut up and sit down.
One, two, three, four.
I like to ride my bike.
I'd like to introduce you to a podcast with a lot of charm, talent, and wit. Unfortunately, I don't have that option, so instead, you are listening to the Dialed Podcast with Matt Legrand,
Sir Ian Gibson,
Lance Hepler, and Jake Von During. Tip of the day, a journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step. That said, you know what you've got to do, so go get her done.
I got fancy little streamers coming out of my handlebars.
I got carts in my spokes that make sounds as it flies the cars.
I got lights all around and reflectors in the back.
I basket on the front that a really useful rack.
But I hate cyclists, bike riders, people who ride bicycles.
does someone need a hug?
I'm all jacked up on Mountain Dew.
All right, welcome back to the Dial Podcast. I am Jake Von During, and I'm here with Lance friggin' Hepler.
Lance friggin' Hepler.
As if we never left.
Like we've never been gone.
Never missed
4
a
weeks.
beat.
Didn't
Never
miss
missed
a beat. Here we are. Let's roll it.
To his right,
Sir Ian Gibson.
the one and only Sir Ian Gibson. What's
Yeah.
up, Gibbo?
I'm going back to the homeland tomorrow.
The mothership.
I'll just be another Brit. No, nothing special.
There's not horns.
Like
There's not
I-
horns
like
that play in the
expression.
background when he.
You're always special.
Yeah,
Ian.
they play that exact same theme when I show up at passport control at Heathrow Airport.
Last and least, Mr. Matt Legrand.
Last and least. Woo! Got a crowd behind me now. What's up, ladies and gentlemen of the internet? You guys look fan-frickin-tastic.
Excellent. Oh, they want to cheer for you one more time.
A little bit more, thanks.
All right, let's do some backpedaling. It's been a long time.
4 weeks.
I'm sorry. That predominantly falls on me. We'll get into that later. But what you've been up to these last 4 weeks on this
How many races have you
monthly
done in
podcast?
4 weeks?
400.
14.
Oh, my God.
I've done 14 races.
Some people will laugh because they thought it was a joke, and then you're like, no,
No,
I'm serious.
that's true.
Oh my
I've done
God.
14 races. I counted them
So
up.
ridiculous.
It's so ridiculous.
I'm going to go run a few errands. I'll be back in like 30 minutes. Will you be done by then?
No.
I don't think it's even worth like digging through it. So
Give
What are
us
some highlights?
Yeah.
There you go.
So Portland Trophy Cup, we are 4 races into the 6-race series. I'm currently sitting in second place in the 50-plus field. Highlight for me so far, I won one of the races, which was
Huge.
That was huge.
First time ever, right?
First time since 2019.
Okay.
I won a race back in 2019. So, and those were much smaller fields back then. So I was super stoked to win one of the races. Otherwise, I've been like 4th or 5th. But you know, sometimes you're on or you make better passes or whatever. So Portland Trophy Cup, those races have been a blast. Race number 5 tonight, and we'll see what happens. The Harvest Cyclocross Series has been happening, and that's been happening every Saturday since we've started. We are 5 races into the 7-race series. I'm sitting in 3rd in the 50-plus field because people are starting to like bail out. So
Okay.
I haven't been better than 4th in any race, but I've been 4th through 8th in every single race, and so
And let's get it in perspective. Like the 50-plus field is pretty competitive, right?
it's pretty
like,
competitive. It's usually over 30 people
Yeah.
participating. There's 5 or 6 guys that if they show up, I cannot stay with them. They're just faster than me, period. But I've been kind of progressively just getting a little faster as I do these like super hard 40-minute efforts. You know, 4 weeks in, I'm starting to feel even better. So I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm rolling along. We had the first Cyclocross Crusade race. I ended up on the podium in that race for the first time ever. I was 3rd in that race, which was kind of fantastic. But the participation was a little low. There weren't as many people there as there normally have been in the Cross Crusade series. But this weekend there will be one of those races at Karen Lakes.
Those Cross Crusade races used to be manic. Like the only time I ever did one was at Alpenrose Velodrome, and like one of the probably the 50+ field or one of the fields, like the tail of the field was almost being caught up by the head of the field after one lap. Like it was so big, so many people in there.
Historically, the Cross Crusade series has been one of the largest attended series in the country.
Yeah.
Back in the heyday, they would have 1,000, 1,100, 1,200 people attending.
I thought they had over 2.
I don't know if they had over 2. I think I looked through it, but it may be. There were. I did a race in 2017 where there were 150 people in my category, and I started 70th and finished 50th, and I was like overjoyed that I actually passed 20 people. So they used to be huge, but losing venues and changing ownership of the series, and a lot of things have changed, and cyclocross, participation ebbs and flows, and we're kind of in a dip right now, and that follows the economy a little bit, and so who knows? But participation has been down this year.
I just feel like cyclocross would be better here in the Pacific Northwest if everything moved a month on, so you'd have more races in the wet.
Yeah, but you're biased because you just want more road racing time.
I don't know if that's true, but anyway,
There aren't road races that are filling in behind it.
Yeah, that's true. That's very true.
There is some talk that the race series may shift later in the year for next year.
I think that would be good.
Yeah,
even if it's a week, sometimes that makes it a little good.
I mean, we're over halfway through, and it still feels like summer here.
Yeah,
right. It's still dry and dusty out there.
There are races that go all the way through the week before Thanksgiving, so we're hoping that.
Yeah, but meanwhile, over in Europe, they're still racing in February, right?
Yes, correct. Yeah. I mean, the World Cups haven't. I think they've only done one. It's just barely started. The World Cups over in Belgium or Europe. So
anyway, good for you, mate. Because a few months ago, you were completely losing your race mojo, not making podiums, getting into a state of disillusion.
It's
and
funny.
Here you are.
I really had no goals going into the cyclocross season. Didn't think that I would do all of it. Wasn't feeling all that confident about it. And as the races have gone on, I've just felt better and better. So I don't know. That's why you can't. It's hard to make plans. Sometimes you feel great, and sometimes you start hot and just like implode. I've done that before, lots of times.
I bet a lot of it is you getting more and more confident, like especially something like cyclocross where your skills are so important. Whereas if you start a race in the right mindset, feeling confident, you do better, right?
This last weekend in Madras, there was a barrier that I was actually able to bunny hop.
Yeah.
But you did every single time through.
I did it every lap. Yeah.
Which is insane.
Yeah. So
because I was watching that video and like not many other. I mean, like the elite guys were doing that.
In the elite field, there was only 2 bunny hopping.
Which
in the 50 field, there was me and there was another guy
who was a bunny hop and then tight turn.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Good job. I meant to congratulate you on that, but
thank you. It was it's cool. It just made my confidence soar a little bit. I'm probably going to attempt to do some bunny hopping tonight at Trophy Cup.
Be careful.
If I come back injured and the season is over, you'll know why. I said it here because it's possible.
Is it something you practice? Have you got a barrier set up at the compound there?
I actually brought the official barriers home from Madras because they didn't fit in anybody else's rig. And so I'm like, hey, Scott Schultz, I'll bring him home and I'll bring him to the race this weekend.
They're set up in your bedroom right now?
So I set him up in my backyard.
Okay.
I set him in my backyard yesterday and practiced for like an hour. And I never muffed it.
Well, you could just go down to Home Depot and buy like a 2x8 or something.
And people build all kinds of cool stuff, right? Which is nice because it's like...
You can take... I have like extra 4x4 posts from like my garden and stuff. I just laid 3 on top of each other. So if you turf they just fall over.
Yeah, or you could do a pool noodle. There's lots of stuff you could do.
Yeah.
I don't know.
So
Going back to the Cross Crusade real quick, I just a little quick search for you guys. Peak numbers were in 2011. Does that sound about right?
Sounds about right.
Yeah, that was prior to me moving here. It was still pretty high when I first moved here. Do you want to guess how many race entries they had for the 2011 season?
What's that?
9,542 race entries during the 2011 season.
Oh my gosh. It was probably a 6-race series or something.
It doesn't say the number of races. I know that
probably 6 or 7 race series.
Didn't it like go up to like something like 8 or 9 though at some point in time?
It may have.
But
That's
whatever.
amazing.
Yeah, I can look up in just a second to see how many races they have, but that's actually pretty freaking insane. And then it also went on to say that the Cyclocross Crusade evidently holds the record for the most race entries in a given race, one single day race.
A single day race.
Yeah.
Holy cow.
That's pretty bonkers. And it was at the Alpine Rose Dairy. So, but they were drawing nearly 1,600 race entries per race.
Per race.
Per race.
Oh my gosh.
Do you think they'll hit that this year total?
There was 220 at the first race.
And how many races are they doing?
They're doing 6.
Yeah, that's not going to happen, boys. So
It's 7.
Yeah, that's 1,320 race entries if they were to be spot on or just use that metric and go forward. So
Yeah, they're doing 7 races.
Oh, you said 7? Okay.
There's 7 races.
Oh, anyway.
Wow.
So that's more like 1,540, but yeah. It's amazing how things have kind of dipped down a little bit. So
the only thing I want to talk about was there was a gravel race on Sunday.
I saw that.
In Madras. There was a short course and a long course. The short course was 1 lap of this like 34-mile loop, and the long course was 2 laps of it. I did the short course because that's what I do. And I just wanted to share that like I had maybe one of my most proudest moments in a bike race ever at this event, because I got dropped on the long climb, and usually you get dropped on a long climb and that's it. And I was able to solo pull a group of 5 back that had like a 1.5-minute gap on me.
Yeah.
It took me 45 minutes of solo pulling to claw back.
What were
to
the
that
watts
group.
like for that 45-minute block?
Pretty impressive.
Are you setting records?
Yeah,
Personal records?
I set season-long power PRs for 10 minutes.
Were there people on your wheel?
20 minutes,
just be
30
like,
minutes.
keep going.
No, I had nobody. I was
No help,
complete
no help.
solo. Yeah.
Oh, and you just put your head down?
I just put my head down and thought, okay, I'm just gonna grind, and then you start to catch glimpses of them.
Were you looking? You were looking up at the people, not down at your power meter.
Yes, correct.
Did you have a power meter?
I did have a power meter.
bike, right?
I had, it's on my gravel bike, but I think
which
I
gravel
held. I have an MV Mog.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
And I held like 320 for 30 minutes.
Oh yeah,
yeah. So I was,
baby.
Yeah, it was like when I went back and looked, I'm like, oh, no wonder I'm so freaking gassed today. But I did end up catching the group, which was awesome. And then I ended up.
Are you taking a rest day?
Dropping the group. No, I'm racing tonight.
Oh yeah, of course. I forgot.
Of course you are.
Good times.
Anyway, that was a fun race. Grava de Madras.
Yeah, I saw the YouTube.
Yeah,
That was
good times. That's it. Enough of me.
That's it?
Somebody else. I mean, you could talk about 8 other races, but nobody wants to hear that. Go watch the YouTube videos. I've made a YouTube video on every single race I've done so far.
How's the channel doing?
It's doing good. It's doing good.
It just seems it's just growing. It's probably growing faster than ever.
I've got like 60 more than I had,
That's
4
awesome.
weeks ago. So it's hopefully organic.
Monetized though, baby.
I am monetized.
Rolling in it.
Yeah, I'm like,
Yeah, you're buying today.
I've
You're buying drinks for everyone.
I've made like $60 so far.
Seriously?
Hey,
That's pretty good. So you get paid out when you hit 100, right?
Yeah, you get paid out when you make it to 100.
all right.
Good for you. Proud of you.
Dinner's on Lance.
Yeah, something. We're going to Taco Bell.
All right, who's next? Gibbo?
Who's next? Me. I can't follow that. I got not very much. I was going to go to the gravel race. Actually, I said I was going to go to the gravel race on Sunday, but in the back of my
bailed on us.
mind, I was really not. I just wasn't into it. My head is not into racing anymore. I've not been training to race. Haven't pinned a number on since June. Just felt like, don't want to do it.
Dodgy wankers.
That's what Lance called me.
I called him something worse than that, I think, in our text thread.
I don't know.
Did
I don't
something
speak
about
British.
wankers.
If only we could translate British to American.
I don't understand it.
Yeah.
So instead of that, I went and saw my mates down at Salvey Island, meeting at Ovation Coffee, 9 o'clock in the morning.
Oh, good job.
That ride is just such fun. We had a good time, and I just barely freaking hung on by the skin of my teeth. It got spicy. It was a hard ride.
No road racing. People are in like winter mode, so lots of guys will show up if the weather's decent. So my guess is
it's like hard. It's totally an unsanctioned road race.
Yes.
There was the second lap. I think did the whole thing at close to 28 miles an hour. There was a group of 3 got off the front. There was a group of 7, which I was a part of, just chasing them, and then the rest behind us. So anyway, it's simulated road racing, so a lot of fun. And then we just got into this thing where we roll up at the coffee shop afterwards and sit down and have a coffee and pastry. And what more can you ask for? This time of year is just great here in Pacific Northwest. The weather was perfect. Downtown Portland was beautiful. It wasn't really a war zone at all, really. It was just gorgeous down there.
There's a whole nother hot issue.
War zone.
The war zone in Portland.
I'm so tempted because my parents are going to come for Thanksgiving. I'm just going to be like, you guys are going into Portland.
It's one block. It's only one block where there's an issue in the entire.
No, that's not true.
Let's not even go there.
That's not even true.
But anyway,
because there's trash everywhere.
Yeah, but that's different.
It's totally different than a war zone. War zone is a yeah. But anyway,
let's move on. We don't talk about politics.
Get political.
Let's get political.
Aside from that, I've just been basically riding my bike, going to the gym, doing all those retiree
How's the gym going?
things. Good. Yeah. Getting back to
getting
full
ripped.
strength.
Yeah.
Yep.
Nice. Okay.
Yep.
Don't mess with
I'm doing my regular workouts, but I'm also doing my knee rehab, which is going well. That was another reason I didn't want to race on Sunday.
Yeah.
Another excuse. Poorly knees. So yeah, it's going
Nice,
okay.
dude.
Yeah.
Keep it up.
That's all I got.
Sweet. There you go.
My life consists of reviewing watches and Camus cross country. Like that's like my world.
How's the team doing?
The team is doing fantastic. We've been doing some morning runs. I've been doing some morning runs with the team.
Nice.
So that's been good.
Can you hang with those whippersnappers?
Yes, when they stop running, I can hang. I'm right there. I'm right with them until I say on your mark, set, go, and then after that I lose them.
That's it.
So so that's been going well. And the other day I mountain biked with the team, which was super nice.
Cool.
Yeah. That's all the biking I've done. And then I've swam open water a couple times since the podcast was done last, which has been fun.
Wow.
Fallen leaf?
Fallen leaf.
Is it still warm enough to swim in, or are you in a wetsuit?
I've been in a wetsuit, and I again, like the main reason I've been going is to test watches and stuff like that, which has been fun.
The buoys are still out there, right? They're yellow, if I'm not mistaken.
It's not me in charge of the buoys these days. Someone else has been putting them out there, and they don't like take them in the winter like I used to. So, but it's all good. I use that and do my same 1,000-meter loop.
Yeah.
They put the buoys in the same spot that I used to put them in. So
good. Yeah,
it's all good. And quick back pedal. Not enough cycling. I need to do some more. I need to at least get on Zwift or something. And we've had some decent weather, so it's really hard not to bike sometimes when the weather's beautiful and I have to like go sit and edit a video. This is bad times. Jake?
Oh, let's see. What have I done since the last time? Nothing cycling related.
Built an entire website.
There you go.
Yeah, I did build a whole brand new website and built out a whole new point of sale system, or POS, not to be confused with the other kind of POS, but the current PS that we were using for the last few years was quite the POS.
Yeah, the POS was a POS.
Yeah, so it was time to bolt on that. The new website should go live today, maybe tomorrow, for sure by the end of this week or before Thursday. It has to.
What's happening with the store? And aren't you the physical store? Aren't you building that out too?
Yeah, that's another thing we're working on. There's a lot to talk about there, but everything's finally done. It sounds like the DC, the general contractor, got everything signed off. All the permits are in place. There was one last little thing that came back where they want us to put a drinking fountain in now. I don't know.
The city wants us to put in a drinking fountain because of the size of the square footage.
Yeah, because we're going to be
bizarre.
900 square feet bigger than what we currently are. But
like a water cooler wouldn't work. Just
evidently not. But I don't know. And that was quoted like $3,000 for that. I'm like, what? Really? Seriously? But I'll come up with something that will cost
we can
$100.
do it. We'll put it in.
A hose works, right?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Garden hose, baby. We're going to go back Gen X style, right? Let's see here.
So what are you going to use that space for? How's it going to work?
It was originally going to be so there's three suites. Each suite is 1,200 square feet. We're currently in one suite, but that suite actually, when it was built out, has 300 square feet that kind of goes into the other suite next door to us.
Yeah.
It's kind of a long story, but the space that we're moving into is literally next door, and it's completely just like a white slate, or it's empty canvas, if you will.
Yeah.
It has never been developed. It's still raw. Like even the walls, they're all exposed, everything. And the funny thing is that space has been there for 20 years and they just never developed it. And it's not for lack of interest. It's just that's what they use to like.
So bizarre as an building owner.
Yeah.
20 years vacant, empty.
I mean, I'd be like, let's get some let's do something here.
It just means that they
don't
own
care.
they own it outright, and it doesn't really matter.
Better to them that much. I mean, they're obviously doing pretty well for themselves. They're super cool though. They've been super easy to work with. I've really quite enjoyed working with them, and they've been just cool every step of the way. But they've used that as like kind of a staging place for all of the different stuffs that are going on in all the different suites, and so that's just kind of like a landing point.
Storage,
yeah. So I addressed them or approached them and said, "Hey, would you guys be interested in us taking that space?" And they're like, "Yeah, we've said no to a lot of people, but we really like you, so yeah, let's do this." And so we worked all that out. Yeah, that was back in like March of this year.
Yeah.
We were supposed to be moving in there, and we were hoping in like May, maybe June, but just so many things that happened. But right now we're ready to go, and I probably need to convey this to the general contractor a little bit more directly. But I let him know that we need to be moved in by October 15th. Otherwise, I didn't really want to do this because we need to be ready for the holidays, right? And I don't want to have to be moving and setting up a whole brand new shop.
He's got 8 days
during the holidays. So
good luck.
I'm just kind of pushing it back because they weren't going to be able to make that happen. So in essence, I want them to start the construction anytime now and just have it ready for us to move in like the beginning of January.
It's just basically going to be additional retail space then.
Correct. So
I heard we're getting a podcast studio.
Well, yeah, the space.
Double the size.
So yeah, the space actually we're reclaiming the 300 square feet that was in the current space that we're using. So we're going to have a total of 2,400 square feet. Doesn't sound like a lot, but given the way that I'm able to optimize everything, that's going to be like massively awesome for us because it'll be quite a bit different. Yeah. But there's going to be a space in there dedicated to just having a place for us to do this kind of stuff and to create content and to have meetings and to, maybe showcase some different products and it's just going to be a fun space. So I'm so looking forward to that. You have no idea. It's going to be really, really cool. So, and I think that's going to be a big key to like the next steps of what we want to do with the lab in terms of getting more information out into the world. So stay tuned for some fun things to come from a little bike shop.
Did you get
it's improving. Did
you get a new action camera over there?
No, I haven't bought anything.
Nothing new.
I haven't bought anything in a long time.
Just
just been so busy. I haven't even had a chance to use that stuff. So,
Yep. Just checking.
Also, in the last however long it's been, I had surgery again. So, third one in 9 months.
Hooray.
Yay. So, hopefully, that part is resolved. And I did have another follow-up with my hip specialist. I was kind of like very nervous about going into that because I wasn't quite sure what he was going to say. I thought I was going to get we're going to go and have surgery on that too. I'm like, great, might as well just get it all done with right now. But after like going through everything and whatnot, he wants to do another injection in my hip. So I should be going in to get an injection for that. Hoping that once I get that done, knowing that it's like a 2-week, kind of like can't do much of anything, that will, basically converge with me feeling better from the other stuff, which has been 3 weeks now, I think, since I've had that surgery. Probably got a few more weeks to kind of get things healed up there. I might maybe, fingers crossed, have some health and some ability to maybe go do something physically active on a thing called a bicycle.
Heard of it?
Yeah, something like that. I don't know. But
are we doing a January 1st challenge, or are we doing like a ride every an hour a day or something?
The Dowd 100? Dowd 100. Yeah, I think so. I think everybody really liked kicking off the year in January with that. And
I need to do that.
going
It
forward
worked for me last time.
100 days into
I was
April.
the
so-
only one from the podcast that did it. But, like,
Right.
So
Yeah.
it's like I need that in my life. I feel like my wife is like hates it when I do it because I'm always like on the bike when she comes home from work or whatever. But I think she realizes like, oh no, he needs this, or else he's just like working. It's like not good. So.
Yeah. I've worked way too many hours. I don't sleep anymore. And I think it was day 3 or 4 after having my surgery. Again, wasn't sleeping worth a lick. And I'm like, I'm trying to go to bed early, trying to get some sleep. And I think I ended up falling asleep at like 10 or 10:30. And it's on a Sunday night. And I'm like, all right, gonna get some rest. And I think I might have even like popped like a Benadryl or something like that just to kind of like make you a little bit sleepy. My phone starts buzzing at me, screaming at me at just before 1 o'clock in the morning. And it turns out somebody was breaking into the lab.
Yes.
Some dude walked up with a hammer and had a beanie on and a neck buff pulled up over his face to his nose and smashed the door and was in and out with a $7,000 bike in less than 12 seconds or about 12 seconds. So
Yeah.
Pretty fast. Pretty fast turnaround.
Pretty
It was just
fast.
one bike.
One bike,
It's like one bike.
in and out. So I was up and out of the house in probably like a minute or two and broke some land speed records getting over there. I think collectively from the time that the alarm went off to the time that I got there was about 10 minutes. It usually takes me about 12 or 14 minutes just to get there. The police were already there and were securing the situation. And so
The police were there because the
The
alarm
alarm
company.
yeah.
It contacted the police and they went right over.
Correct. So, I was happy that they were so responsive this time. They actually beat me there this time, which is kind of cool. So, but yeah, anyway, that ended up being a night where I was up at, basically 1 o'clock in the morning and I got home at like 5:45 in the morning.
That was right after the surgery too. I remember calling him, checking on you after the surgery, and you were like, "Dude, this happened." I'm like, "Oh my gosh, this is the worst."
Not good.
Not feeling good. And I had to deal with that. Man, there was so much glass and then I had to board up the door. And you know what? Home Depot is not doing at 1 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
Open and selling plywood. So I came home and by chance I had a piece of plywood that I was able to like dig up from my crawl space and like just like plowing through all kinds of crap down there. And I'm like, this is not what I want to be doing at 1:30 in the morning, and got the van loaded up and went back over there and cleaned up all the glass, installed the new plywood, which was a big giant pain in the ass because the plywood was a little bit bowed and like you had to like kind of get it pulled in flat. And doing that by yourself turns out that's not easy. But
Oh my gosh.
anyway, so
You should have called me, Jake. I would have ignored it. And
exactly. Yeah.
If you try to call me too, it's straight to voicemail. Oh man.
So anyway, long story short, it's been an eventful last month. So apologies for not getting a podcast out in that time because I know that you boys have wanted to. You've inquired about it, and I'm like, I just
just didn't happen.
You're like hard pass.
Yeah, I've
pass.
got, there's this whole like migrating from this one point of sale system and website to the new system. I have to get it done within a certain amount of time because you have to renew these contracts with these different systems on an annual basis. So the timeline was that if I didn't get it done by such and such a time, that I would have had to renewed, which would have cost me probably $1,500 to pay for a system that I wasn't going to use. So the deadline said that, Jake, you got to work a lot and get this done. So there's lots of data management stuff and merging and putting two systems into one to put it into one system that's going to house everything. It's just so
I'm
much.
sure there'll be issues at launch of the new website, but they'll work. All of the stuff gets worked out.
There's
just going to be.
Yeah, it would have already been live by now, but there's one module that's built into that actually manages the service part of what we provide at the lab so that we can have all of our customers and their cycling or their bike stuff in there and like a service records and all that stuff. And we've been having it's been really slow for them to get that part set up. And then there's like one other thing that they've been trying to get set up and fixed for me and been delaying. So in the process of that being delayed, I've really spent a lot of time really trying to go through the website and troubleshoot things and make sure that everything's looking right and flowing right. And we've even shared it with Lance. It's behind a password protected thing. And he's been able to, dig in there a little bit as well.
It's much, much better.
So
Much better.
should be cool.
Should be good.
Anyway, enough about me. Let's move on. Let's do something a little bit more fun. Who do you guys want to? Do you want to do this first?
Champ Bailey in sports.
Champ Bailey's here.
Yeah, you want to do that? Okay,
That
let's
stuff has happened.
do that then.
in sports. Champ here.
What? Yeah, there's been a lot of stuff that's happened.
Face into a car windshield and then take your mother Dorothy Mantooth out for a nice seafood dinner and never call her again. Champ.
Champ
All right.
Bailey.
We
Let's be done with
are
that.
going to hit the highlights here because so much has happened. But one of the things that I want to talk about, Jonas Vingegaard wins the Vuelta on a last stage, which is a complete PR disaster. Madrid was a mess.
We haven't had a podcast since then?
No.
Oh, my God. That was a long time
It was a
ago.
long time ago. Yao Alameda takes second. Tom Pidcock takes third. The best part about this was the impromptu award ceremony. So there was no podiums. All the podiums were canceled because they couldn't get to the spot where they were doing it. And Tom Pidcock took third in a grand tour. Fantastic. And his mother was like, listen here, little pitters. I don't want you to miss your chance to stand on a podium in a grand tour. And so Tom Pidcock's mother went to the leader of Visma and says, hey, we've got to do something. So they threw something together in the parking lot of the hotel. They threw up some banner behind him. They had him standing on 3 different coolers.
That's freaking rad.
And they drew like a 1, like with Sharpie, and a 2 and a 3, and everybody showed up. They got the word out, so everybody showed
I feel
up.
like that's cool.
It was so cool. So it was cool that Alameda was there, Pidcock was there, Mads Peterson was there. All the jerseys showed up too and stood on it. It was just
That's good.
That was the best part of the Vuelta. So besides all the political crap that happened, so that was very cool. Other highlights: we've had the World Championships that happened.
Yep.
And Remco absolutely smashed the time trial. Actually, caught and passed Pogačar, which was kind of freaking amazing. And so he has won the Olympic time trial, the World Championship time trial, the European time trial, the Belgian national time trial. And
did he win the Michael Myers Memorial Time Trial too?
He did not win the Michael Myers.
That's right.
Memorial
Put it on your list there, buddy.
Put it on your list. So
you're nothing until you come out and smash there.
So pretty amazing what he did in the time trial. And then the road race happened, and Pogačar ended up winning, and Remco threw a giant fit again.
But if you think about it, though, he was pissed because he was having some issues with his bike. Was it the saddle or something like that broke?
Saddle.
Like he kept bouncing up and down on the bike. Like, do I have a flat tire? But was it the rail that broke on the saddle or something like that, or something broke on the support of it?
The saddle pointed down.
Oh.
And so the saddle, it pointed down. It moved for some reason.
Yeah.
And so he swapped to his backup bike. And in the World Championships, they don't have radios.
Yeah.
So you can't tell your team, hey, this is what's going
Yeah.
on.
So he was standing on the side for a long time.
Yeah, standing on the side and waiting. And they finally show up. And while he's waiting, he kicked a bottle into the street because he was just
pissed.
As you would be.
Yeah.
Didn't he have to stop a second time though?
Yes. So here's what happened.
Yeah.
So he swaps to his other bike, and he's riding his backup bike for, I don't know, 10 or 15 minutes, and just did not like it.
Mm-hmm.
Felt like something was wrong. Was pretty certain that the saddle height was wrong.
Off, yeah.
And so he throws another fit and swaps back to his other bike.
His original bike after they fixed it.
Yeah.
He gets on the bike and smashes.
Still pulled Pogačar back.
And didn't pull him back fully, but was in
Got close.
Got close and
Yes.
finished 30 seconds back or something like. I can't remember what the
50 seconds back.
Yeah,
I think.
okay.
But he ended up second.
Yeah. So I mean, who knows how much Pogačar let up at the end there? But the fact of the matter is, he was pretty far back, just collectively waiting and being pissed off.
Yes.
And then being able to get back on the bike and come in second place. I mean, I'm not sure because I didn't watch it. I just saw some of the recaps of the whole thing.
Yeah.
How many people passed him in that? How many people did he have to catch, pass, and move, just keep leapfrogging up? I mean, I don't think he would have beat Pogačar. I really don't. But the fact of the matter is, he could have made it a lot more interesting than it was.
And you see why that he was so upset, because this was like his best shot at beating Pogačar in a road race was at these world championships, and to be the double world champion, that doesn't happen very often.
Yeah.
So, but it all kind of melted away with his bike issues.
Yeah.
So,
well, it's part of the race, though. I mean,
that's the way it goes.
Bike's going to perform just like you.
Yeah,
Crazy.
people were saying that, or the commentary I've heard was that he probably would have gotten second anyway.
Probably.
Pogačar was just stronger on the day.
Yep. Yeah.
anyway.
But still,
Anyway, then
you
the
don't
next,
know.
then on the European Championships next week.
Yes.
Similar Well, apart from the
Similar
mechanical,
duo.
but
Similar duo.
Similar duo.
Similar duo.
And Pogacar still won that as well.
Yawn.
So, and there was some race today in Italy, and Pogacar won that too.
Yeah.
Why is he still racing?
Because
Is it just like a tune-up for
because
the-
the Lombardia is coming up. The
Oh.
last monument is
Next
still
week.
happening next week.
Oh, wow.
The weekend.
Yeah. So they're doing these little warm-up Italian races to be ready for
This all leads to my
Lombardia.
first hot seat question.
Put a pin in that because we're not quite there yet, but put a pin
You
in
know
that.
me.
Well, I
I
don't
don't
know.
to jump the gun.
He's like giving teasers here.
I do think it's kind of it is
'cause they
interesting
ruined my hot seat
how
question because we start talking about it.
it is interesting how
Move on. Yep. Go, sorry, Ian. Do you want
Are you
to?
ready? I've lost my train of
Are you
thought.
going to throw a fit, Ian? I'd like to see that.
No, I have been known to throw fits.
You have.
Presenting your Royal Highness, Sir Ian Gibson.
Yes.
He is turning bright red.
Right. What I was going to say is it's interesting how people can be so good at time trials, and then not back that up in a road race. It shows you time trialing is predictable, right? When a time trial race starts, you kind of have a really good idea, the pecking order, who's going to finish where. And then on the road race, everything changes around. And you would think with that kind of power, with that kind of talent, that you can constantly put out threshold effort higher than anybody else, be more aerodynamic than everybody else, and do so well in a time trial that would roll over and you would crush the road race too.
You should.
And
have
coming second is no mean feat,
True.
right? But
Yeah.
but it just shows you there's so many more variables in a mass
In a road
start
race,
race.
yeah.
That in a time trial, everything's under your control. It's you, same conditions as everybody else, but weird.
It's pretty interesting.
Fine.
He's so good at it, though. Oh my god, he beat Ghana, right?
He did.
by a minute and a half or something.
But
Something
Ghana-
crazy.
Was Ghana at the World Championships? I don't think
Do you
he
think
was.
like Filippo Ganna is kind of on the downward slope of his career at this point?
Oh,
how old is he? Is he
I don't-
33?
I don't know.
30? I don't know.
But it's pretty remarkable how like aero that Remco is, and the amount of power he can put out for how aero he is just there's nobody that can really touch him. He's winning. He's won every time trial he's done in the last like 2 years or something like that. It's been pretty remarkable. So anyway, I don't know that there's any other races to talk about really. Lombardia is coming up.
Move on. We got
anything else, Champ?
Camp out.
All right, that's all I want to hear.
I did it with nothing but my own blood, sweat, and tears, and extra blood.
People don't. Yeah. You know, this is a sport with literally hundreds of dollars on the line and dozens of fans. The stakes are medium.
Come on. How do you beat a man on drugs if you're not on drugs?
Wait, did you just admit to being on drugs?
The EPO Chain Mail.
29.
Send us a text with your question.
Ghana's 29 years
Forward
old.
this podcast
Oh,
to
he's
15
pretty young
people,
still.
and you'll lose 10 pounds overnight without even trying.
If I were,
You've got mail.
Oh, thanks, I appreciate that. If I forward it to 30 people, will I lose 20 pounds?
No.
It's
not the way it works.
Yes. Try it.
All right, we do have a
Diuretics.
couple
X-Lax.
fan mail things that have come in from the folks that have taken advantage of that little option on the podcast player of their choice. I don't know. Do you guys use anything other than Apple Podcasts or Spotify? What else do you guys use?
Nope, just those two.
Those two are the ones I use.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anything special.
Well, there's a bunch of other platforms out there, and so I'm told they all have that same feature where you can go down there and say, I think it's text the show or contact the show or something like that. So if you have a question and you want to chime in, we would absolutely love that. It's all anonymous. We don't get your name. We just get basically the city and state that you're sending your message from and your question. So those are always fun. All right, let's get into the first one that comes to us from Joplin, Missouri. As Lance's, in parentheses, nonstop race season starts to wind down,
Not winding down.
what, if any, advice does Coach Ian have for Lance's heading into 2026?
Ooh, we almost talked about this
We
before
did.
the podcast a little bit.
It's hard, right? I do believe in having a full transition season. I do believe in stopping what you're doing, taking a break, and then rolling into preparations for next year. I mean, it's hard with somebody like Lance who, and I have other clients as well that started racing in March,
February,
April, and are still at it now. And managing those efforts is increasingly hard. You're still in this middle of race season, so the idea is not to get fitter, but just to keep your legs where they are and maintain and show up on race day with fresh legs. But more than that, Lance has exceptional motivation to keep on racing. You don't see that in many athletes, especially, in all athletes. It's hard to keep that mojo going, right? But Lance just loves what he does.
There's a part of Lance that loves racing bikes, and there's also a part of Lance where he's going to go out there whether he knows he's going to do fantastic or not. There's been plenty of times where he's like, I just went to have fun. And I think sometimes having that mentality helps you have those longer seasons and to be able to go out there. I personally have a really hard time doing that because when I used to ride bikes and race bikes and all that other stuff back when I could do that stuff, I didn't want to show up to a race to have fun. I wanted to show up to a race to win. And there's a lot of pressure then that comes on me. And then there's a lot of to do well in that race. And subsequently there's going to be pressure to train right, to put in the right kinds of volume and to constantly beat the snot out of myself. And I find that if I try and do that for too long or too many times over the course of a block of time, it really starts to wear me down, both physically and psychologically. Lance, on the other hand, knows how to turn that button off, at least sort of. I mean, I think you might go out with the intention of like, I'm going to give it the beans.
Generally, yeah.
And then if you realize 10, 15 minutes into a race that's not going to happen, you're still going to do the race, but you're going to do it with a smile on your face because you don't have that pressure on yourself. So you want to win, you're a competitor, but you know how to turn that switch off really quickly to have fun.
Yes. I feel like in athletes, I see the whole like, the ability to not have burnout has a large correlation with being able to like turn off that like over seriousness of the event or whatever and just have fun out there. And I think when people are having fun throughout their season or their race, each individual race, that they don't really end up burning out as much. I do think you can probably burn out on training, but like your endurance right now is so high that it's probably hard for you to burn out on training. You'd probably could if you were like, I'm doing 100 milers much more regularly and I'm doing them 3 times a week or something. You probably could like get a little more burnt out, but you don't do that.
That's true though as well, right? The more races you go to, the more relaxed you are about the races.
Yeah.
You show up, you have a realistic expectations. Like you think, it'd be great if I get on the podium. It'd be great if I win this race, but I'm also here to meet all my friends and have a good time. And the more you do that, the more relaxed you are.
Takes all the pressure off.
Pressure's off. Yeah. So
I also went through. I was really fit in February, in March, and then I crashed in March, and I had a stretch of March through June where I kind of sucked. I was not very good. I still went to all the races and just like rolled the dice and had fun.
Yeah.
But then from July on, it's been pretty steady, and I went into this cyclocross season with like no goals. Like I had no expectations. I had already had a decent race year, and I went into the cyclocross season thinking, okay, we're just going to do this and see what happens and have fun. And I've been getting results. And so the more results I get, the more pressure I put on myself to do a little bit better.
But it gets you halfway through the season in a no pressure environment.
Correct.
And then if you put pressure on yourself towards the end, that's fine.
Yeah. The truth is though that racing hard and training hard puts a lot of stress on your body. I mean, not just stress on your legs and your cardiovascular system, but your entire body responds to these stresses you get. Yep. And there's other sources of the same stress as well, like your work, like not sleeping well, like your family pressures. All of this adds up. And so the people that get burnt out, or the people that are most susceptible to burnout and who you have to manage, you can't give them too much training stimulus, are those people who are dealing with other stresses, which I think it's fair to say that Lance has a lot of that minimized.
Yeah, Lance, Ian and I were looking at each other. We're going to say something at the same time, and he beat me to the punch. So I bit my tongue. And my question was going to be, Ian, like, how much of a role do you think Lance's lifestyle, the fact that he's retired and doesn't have to go to work and doesn't have to go to all the kid soccer games and have to go do this, that, and the other, like his life, let's just say, revolves around traveling in his van, pretty much, going to cool places, riding his bike whenever he feels like it, and racing as much or as little as he wants.
That's correct.
But what else is in Lance Hepler land? What else do you rock counting maybe a tiny bit, making some
rock
videos?
Counting is like pure stress release.
That's pure. I was going to say the stressful.
That was pure stress release. It's so relaxing, the rock counting, because there's no pressure at all, zero.
And it's something fun you do with your wife too, which is pretty cool.
Do,
But there's no getting. It's true though that like 10 years ago you were younger but busier,
better looking,
you weren't
better,
but you weren't having results at the races.
Correct.
Part of it was that you didn't have as much time to train, but the other part was you had so much more other stresses going on.
I do not have a whole lot of stress in my life. Plus, I still like hot tub and sauna like 4 times a week. Plus cold plunge. Those things help with my stress relief and recovery and recovering from hard efforts. So that stuff helps. I mean, I am still managing a bunch of residential real estate properties, and I'm in the process of trying to sell a couple duplexes here in Vancouver, and that is not going very smoothly at the moment, but that's honestly really a tiny drop in the stress bucket from what I've experienced in my past life. So you are correct. Yeah.
Good job. Keep it up, Lance.
I'm trying.
It's a good question. So
I feel like I owe it to everybody who, I mean, I don't have a job. I don't have to work. I have kind of unlimited free time to do what I want. I better freaking be fast.
Yeah. So it
doesn't always work that way.
So you just
I would say Lance is a special case, not that special, but
he's not. Yeah.
The normal people, even Lance, I would say, take a break at some point. Like transition, like make a start on the new season on a certain date and say, this is now the push for.
I have 11 more races on my calendar.
But then training camp's right around the corner. You got to train for training camp.
That's not till February.
It rolls into the season. So just going to push through that. And then 2029, I think there's a window that's there for a break.
We'll see what happens.
So maybe we'll go over to his house and we'll like run a cable through all of his bikes and lock them up and just leave like a beach cruiser there and say, that's all you get, buddy.
That's all I get.
You can go ride a bike. Here you go. So in a nutshell, then your advice, it's not for everybody, but for just Lance, is just take some time off. And
I would even Lance, but everybody's different, right? Depending on as we talked about, depending on the other stresses in your life. Some people you have to manage their time off of the bike more carefully because there's so much other influences going on.
So those are your recommendations, and I'm willing to bet a lot of money that those will be completely ignored.
Yeah,
I'm sure.
I'll take a week off.
Well, it's because Lance doesn't have a coach.
Why?
He uses AI.
Are you going to go on a cruise or something? What's happening?
I'm not going on a cruise.
Okay, you're not taking a week off then, I'll tell you that.
Right.
All right, let's get into the next question real quick. Comes to us from Arkansas. Matt, you've probably been to Arkansas.
Yes.
Yeah. Lance, you've been to Arkansas?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Ian, you've been?
Fayetteville.
Okay. Ian, you been there before?
No.
I've never been to the Arkansas either, so maybe one day. Anywho, the gravel roads around where I live are unmaintained and extremely chunky. I'm looking for a wide gravel tire that has good traction but still fast on some pavement. Thanks.
Interesting. I have switched my bike to the new Maxxis Reaver.
The HyperX?
Yeah, the HyperX. So Maxxis came out with a new gravel tire. The trend was to go to mountain bike tires on gravel, and then Keegan Swenson went away from a mountain bike wide tire to a 45.
The trend is do whatever Keegan Swenson is.
Do whatever Keegan Swenson
There
is.
are quite a few people on the YouTubes that have challenged that notion as well and have done pretty extensive testing, and they all kind of came to the same conclusion that the 45 is like the best all-around tire. There are certain situations where that mountain bike tire is going to be better played for you.
Yep.
But it seems like everybody goes to that just because when you put together the full race and you look at all of the different conditions that you generally ride in a gravel race, that was what performed the best.
But I think if we're really focusing on the question from the reader, or from the listener, then I'm leaning towards why. It also sounds like this is like for training potentially.
Yeah,
not racing,
or just wanting to go fast on gravel. I mean,
okay,
that's legit too.
The Maxxis Reaver, it has a file tread on it, so it goes very fast on pavement, and it has a little bit of side knobs, so you still get traction in the corners. That's the beauty of it. And I've been racing that 45s. Matter of fact, that's the tire I've done all my cyclocross races on too, except for one wet one.
Technically not supposed to do that. I mean, UCI and USAC rules.
UCI not legal. It can't be over 33 mils, and I'm riding a 45. And when I pull into the start chute and I look around,
they're pretty strict about the rules.
they don't look at our tires at all. You can ride your mountain bike in an over race, which is fine. We don't want to be exclusive. They want to be inclusive.
Yeah.
Just come and do the race. It's fine. But in the start chutes, lots of people are on gravel tires.
Well, that's a good question
Even
too,
our
because
series leader.
there are so few companies making cyclocross bikes anymore, and that has to lend itself to cyclocross not being quite as popular to a certain degree.
That's a good point.
And there are, just because there's not as many people doing it in general around the world, and they put all of their resources into gravel bikes, but there are a lot of people that are just riding gravel bikes at cyclocross races. But I wonder if, I'm going to get into this later. I'm going to pen that note. But how many people have you been seeing on gravel bikes in general? Is it?
It's half of them.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
I'm going to pin that because that was part of my question for the future.
I know. We can't even do our hot seat questions.
It's not so much the make and model of the tire, but how wide the tire is is the biggest.
Yeah. And it's been
factor,
dry. So wider tires don't do good when you're picking up mud. You want narrower tires when you're picking up mud. We haven't had a mud race.
But every race I've been to that I've seen people on that have chosen to go with narrower tires have had issues getting flats.
Yeah, it still happens.
There's less volume of air in there somehow.
Drawing a little bit higher tire pressure too.
Yeah.
Even this gravel race this last weekend in Madras, there were 20 people that flatted that had issues. And we even had a teammate, Laura Mullen, flatted out, didn't finish because stuff happens. But
so
that's how it
I
goes.
can only put 44 as maximum on
it
my
depends
bike.
on the bike frame too. Yeah, for sure.
So the Maxxis Reaver Hyper X is your go-to choice at the moment. Do you
is.
have like a second and a third choice in that?
I do. I will say, so the Maxxis Reaver, the Maxxis came out with a new tire compound, the Hyper X, which is much stickier than their other tire compound.
Yeah.
So it actually holds lines better. You actually can feel it when you're riding it. It also wears out faster. So that's something to think about. But
a good thing though is in comparison to a lot of the other gravel tires out there, it's not nearly as expensive as some of these other tires that are getting up there in that $80, $90, $100. I think that the Reaver, if I'm not mistaken, is like 67 or $69. Not cheap, but in comparison to some of the others that are 10, 15, $20 more, getting some good bang for your buck there.
Yeah.
The other very good tire that does well on the road is the Specialized Pathfinder Pro. That is a very good gravel tire, not good in chunkier or muddier conditions, but if you can get that in a 50 as well.
Yeah.
So 45 or a 50 in a Specialized Pathfinder Pro, very good tire. Also the Schwalbe GS1, also a very good
We sell a lot of
tire.
those, and they're sometimes tough to get, and they just sell out quickly.
All three of these tires I've just mentioned
sell quick.
They're hard to find sometimes.
The other one that seems to sell a lot that I have not ridden, I'm just basing this off of popularity and the fact that we ship them out all over the country, are the Challenge gravel grinders, but it's the handmade one that's not the vulcanized rubber. It's the handmade one that's got the higher TPI count. People have said that they love those tires, and we send them out all over the place. And it's got a similar kind of a format in terms of like that file tread in the middle and a little bit of bite on the side. And Challenge makes a good tire. So
they do make a good tire. I have not ridden that tire.
Yeah.
I've ridden all the other thres I just mentioned.
One of these years, we'll go out for a ride and we'll get some force.
Tire talk.
Tire talk. That's a good question.
Good question. Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, that was the last question. So, if you
Send
want
us your questions,
send us your
peoples.
questions. Yeah, and we'll talk about it in the next podcast next month.
January 1st.
Exactly. All right.
What are we up to? Moving along?
I think we're going to move along, and I think it's, we do this whole thing. I don't know.
That's hot. That's hot. That's hot. That's hot. That's hot. That's hot.
Hey, Matt, that's a hot question you got over there. You want to
Matt was itching to go, and we shut him down.
You had
You
something
always
you want to
shut me
talk
down.
about.
That's how it goes. Okay. This goes back to our discussion earlier when Champ was here. He's gone now.
Champ's left.
He's left the building.
The chat.
We talked about the World Championships, European Championships. Again, it was Remco and Tade. It by all accounts, I mean, I feel like those are the two big players. And I found it very interesting that Remco finished that ride and said, and I quote, "Tade barely needs a team to win."
Yeah.
So just reviewing what happened, they somehow so I think Remco, I feel like he rides for the Belgian team or something like that group, and they have pretty talented athletes for
Lots
sure.
of talented athletes.
They were able to isolate Tade in that European Championship race.
He had Roglic with him.
Okay,
Roglic
yes.
is also Slovenian, and Roglic helped in the first 50K, but after that, nope.
So, but then Tade attacks with 75 kilometers to go. Rides away from everyone.
Yes.
Kind of without a team, maybe. I don't know. Anyway, what is it? We think this is boring in some ways, right?
Mm.
I mean, like 75K solo is ridiculous. But my question is, what is it going to take to beat him? Do you beat him by having a better team? Do you beat him by like different strategies? Is there an avenue to beating Tadej Pogačar?
Don't be suspicious. Don't be suspicious.
Yes.
Don't be suspicious. Don't be suspicious.
Got to be a little bit
I
suspicious.
feel like he had to do that. That was his only
That was his
recourse
tactic,
was
as opposed to
to
playing
go
the-
long on his own and break the Belgian team. If he had teammates with him, that it may have played out differently. But I also heard that people were saying that the Belgians could have used different tactics, like kept attacking him on the straights rather than set it up for a Remco Pogačar showdown on the major climbs. But
There was a moment where Isaac Del Toro, his trade teammate, who was from Mexico, not on the same country team, that they were up off the front, as well as Juan Ayuso, who probably could care freaking less. So Juan Ayuso also on UAE. So Pogačar, Juan Ayuso, Del Toro, all three of them are on UAE.
You're saying that the trade teams took
right
a role
Yes.
in how the tactics
they
went.
probably did. They probably did with Del Toro. But Juan Ayuso is leaving that team. He's going to Trek. And I think he has some animosity towards the team. So he's probably he was trying to beat him himself. Del Toro, it makes you wonder if he just went up there to help Pogačar just a little bit, because he cramped and threw the anchor out not too long after.
Yeah.
So
hard to know.
It's hard to know there, but so that's the weird thing about World Championships. It's always different because it's not trade teams, it's country teams.
Very different.
You're trying to rip each other apart all year long, and then for 2 races a year, you're now
best buddies.
teammates and best buddies.
Is there a team director for that country that's
Yes.
calling the shots?
Yes. But they don't have radios.
Which kind of makes the racing a little bit more enjoyable, if you ask me.
Yes.
But so, how much do they have to listen to that? I mean, does that team director get to select who comes, or do you make it on your own merit?
Good question.
They probably have a selection process, and then that race director is probably more of a figurehead kind of.
Do you think it's more of a formality than anything, and that the teammates are the ones that are kind of calling the shots?
I would think so. I mean, especially when they don't have radio, and then I think you're choosing that race director based on their history to show off something.
Yeah.
That's my theory. Who knows?
Interesting. I don't know.
Okay. Hot seat question. That's it.
That's good.
All right.
Who would like to go next?
So Matt, one of your
Videos?
YouTube rivals or fellow YouTubers put out something last week that
Rivals,
said,
hated, angrily.
Yeah.
Yes, we all hate each other.
that's right. Apparently, apparently Strava is suing Garmin.
Yes.
So number one, how come you missed this exclusive story?
I know, right?
And somebody else took it up, and two,
DC Rainmaker scooped me.
how is it going to affect us? What's the ramifications of this, in your opinion?
I don't think that there's going to be any ramifications. I don't think. Okay, so Garmin could go two routes. They could go scorched earth, and they could go like, okay, we can just disconnect Strava. Like your Garmin rides don't automatically upload to Strava anymore. That would be hilarious because Strava that would really hurt Strava. I think it would hurt Strava. There's a lot of Garmin users out there. The other thing, and the thing that is highly likely, is this plays out in the court system, and Garmin quietly wins this battle in court, and that's it.
For people who don't know,
Yes, we should review.
Yeah, Strava it's not suing. They're taking them to like federal court or some court system. It's not really a lawsuit, but they're trying to say that
Patent infringement on
Garmin is using
heat maps and segments.
Yeah, Garmin
right?
is
Heat
using
maps and
their
segments,
heat
yeah.
map information to allow to build routes and segments, right?
And that's like,
it's
that's Strava. They're saying that's our thing.
It's Strava saying it's our intellectual property, and so that's why they're going. And Sunto has also joined with Strava against Garmin as well.
Right.
So that came out like yesterday or something like that.
But they've been kind of letting them do this since 2014. And
Yes.
but I do think that they were supposed to kind of maybe taper it off, or there was some expectation, or there was some threshold
contract that they have signed where they are saying like, well, we had an agreement, and it was basically to kind of discontinue development on that heat map / like stuff, which Garmin has done. They basically have ignored it.
Yeah.
The thing about it is Strava Garmin is a behemoth, much bigger, much more powerful, makes much more money than Strava does.
Yeah.
And if they piss off Garmin enough that Garmin just turns off uploading to Strava probably half of their files, half of their information comes from Garmin users.
Yep.
That could be devastating.
It could be devastating.
Strava.
It's stupid, but it's something I think they had to address from Strava because they're getting ready to do an IPO. At least that's what that's what the
Strava's trying to go public.
Exactly. So there are some open-ended things that needed to be addressed, and I think that this was part of them kind of checking those boxes. I'm pretty sure they're not going to bite the hand that feeds them a lot of
true
customers. So I'm sure that this is maybe that there was some posturing in there, and they've maybe reached out, and it was probably one of those things where it wasn't coming to a head. So they had to take this step in order to get what they want out of it.
Maybe it wasn't supposed to get out at all.
Yeah.
And Ray Maker just knows everybody.
But if it ends up going to court, though, I mean, a lot of stuff is going to get put out in discovery, and there's going to be a lot of information that we're going to learn about this. So I don't know. I think it's kind of dumb. Figure out a way to play nice together. I mean, this kind of smells a little bit like Zwift and Wahoo.
Wahoo.
Yeah. And they were best of friends, then they were the worst of enemies, and now they're the best of friends again.
Yeah, so super weird.
I mean, the other thing that potentially could affect us is the whole thing with SRAM and the UCI, right? That's in the courts right now. So that could has the potential to dramatically affect SRAM's product line and their offerings.
Mm-hmm.
They're trying to say that SRAM can't use a 10-tooth cog in any of their cassettes.
Right.
And
Which
all
is-
of their kits.
That's
now
all
all
they
every
have.
one of them has a
all
10.
of it. Yeah. They don't sell anything new. They
It
might
doesn't
sell
have a
old
10.
stuff.
Yeah.
Anyway,
I don't think so.
the 10's great. We all use it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Anyway.
That's
So
what I got.
Great
any-
question.
Any more thoughts on that?
Great question. Great question.
Moving on.
Good hot seat question.
Sweet.
I
Yep.
wonder what will happen with the Strava thing. My guess is that it just quietly goes away.
It's going to be a big
It'll
nothing sandwich.
quietly go away in the courts, but there'll be some good documentation to dive into if we want to, as far as like the discovery documentation stuff that goes public. So we'll see.
Yeah.
Cool. Yep. You got a question for us?
Jake,
What?
you got a question?
Sure. Do you need me to ask a question?
Yeah.
Buy you some time?
I'm trying to think. We're already an hour in.
Yep. My question's kind of a broad one. You and I've kind of chatted about this a little bit. And I've just got a few things that might lead into that. But on the whole, like the race scene, at least here in the Pacific Northwest, seems like all of the races are shrinking. They're all getting smaller, and the attendance is going down. The number of race entries is going down. I wouldn't say that it's the same across all disciplines. I think it's affecting some disciplines a little bit more. But concurrent to that, at least from what I've noticed, and I don't know if it, I mean, I had my reasons for not being at a bunch of them, but we put on weekly rides for a big chunk of the year that are on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, pretty regularly. And those numbers are all down as well. And from what I've heard from other people, some of the other group rides are down as well. What's going on? Why? What are some of the reasons that you would think that race entry fees are down? Seems like, local group rides are maybe a little bit down, but I don't know. Did you guys have a reason for that? Is there a correlation there? But I do feel like at the lab, like our numbers, we had a record-breaking year, and it seems like there's a ton of people out riding. Are people just kind of doing their own thing? Is the world of cycling a little bit disjointed right now? People just aren't able to like sync up and do these things like races and group rides?
That's a good question. I mean, it's really hard to put a pin on exactly why things would be down because initially, like with racing, it's a luxury to race a bike.
Sure.
Right. You don't have to do it. You have to really want to do it to actually sign up and do a race because, not only you're testing yourself, but there's potential for injury or issues. And so to actually do that and our racing, community has been pretty strong, but we are definitely down this year. Numbers are down across every discipline. And I would think that that's maybe a function of the economy or nervousness about the economy. Is the economy going down? Are our dollars worth less? Are we going to have to, do we need to be more careful about how we're spending money? And so the luxury of racing kind of goes away, or the want to race goes away because of the economy. But then the lab is up.
Oh yeah, there's tons of people riding,
and we've had tons of people riding. Right.
I mean, I feel like for every customer that's been a customer for a while that comes through the door, there's a customer who's a new customer coming to see us for the first time. Yeah. It's just absolutely crazy.
But this might be not seeing the forest because of the trees. This might be a situation where like the lab's doing well because word of mouth, and it's doing well because people are discovering that you get good service if you go to this store, and then that word gets out amongst all of the cyclists. So you may be growing at the same time that the industry is shrinking. And maybe industry is the wrong word.
We lost a big bike shop this year in Portland. Just went away, went under.
I think that Lance nailed it when he said, like, it might not just be like something we can put a pin on. It might be like a lot of different factors.
Yeah.
One, I still think, and this has been the case for a big block of time, people are more and more less like, that's not the right way to word this. They're more and more less likely to go out on the road when you can get hit by a car because people are playing on their cell phones.
Yeah,
that's just a common thing. And I think that that's a common situation where everyone can be like, yeah, I'm not going out there. It's just, so then you have less new people picking up the sport, and older people are either getting hurt or dropping out of the sport. So you need to have that constant influx of new people coming in that want to race or do things. And they might look at it and be like, that's just not that appealing when you have to go play in traffic. The other thing that I think is maybe subtle is I think e-bikes are getting popular.
Dude.
And no one's, I could say no one's going to race e-bikes, but I could be very wrong about that. But like, I don't think you don't have that like gut instinct to be like, I got this e-bike. I love riding it.
Lance just raced against him.
I did at the gravel race.
But do you think that there's less? I mean, there's lots of e-bikes. I'm seeing them on the road all over the place, but like, I don't think that these are the same people that are racing. Could be wrong.
Well, they did have the gravel race had an e-bike category.
Awesome.
When our race started, 4 guys got up the road immediately, and I noticed that one of them had gray hair, so I assumed he was in my age group.
Yeah,
and I'm like, who is that guy? I've never seen him before. I need to like, I turned myself inside out for about 15 minutes to try to catch them or stay with them, and realized it was unsustainable. So I let those 4 go. Turned out that guy was on an e-bike.
Now,
but he was racing in an e-bike category.
He was racing in the e-bike category.
I take exception to that though. they should not have been racing with you. They should have been let go
separate.
first. Because what if you and I went to the same race, and we know right now what kind of shape I'm in, but I could still get on an e-bike and do just fine. But I'm not racing against you on that level. But we're in the same reel, and I can motor pace you through the whole damn thing.
You could.
Yeah.
The e-bike guy did win the short course outright by a couple minutes, so he was off the front.
But those guys that were the fast guys that broke away with him, and you couldn't stay with that group of four.
Yeah.
How
They
much
were
of an advantage?
assisted by the guy
Exactly.
in the
How much
e-bike,
assistance did they get
I
there?
don't
So
know.
that
good question.
kind of skews the whole race.
100% agree that the e-bike needs to be separated. Also, this is me being an old cranky old man. I don't understand the racing the e-bike thing, because like, doesn't it come just down to who has the best e-bike engine? Like, I mean,
yes, but it was about being inclusive. You know,
Yeah,
you know, this race only had 130 people at it, and so Andrew Lostikoff, who was the race promoter, was just like, hey, let's do an e-bike category, and he had 4 people show up.
And
3. He had 3 more entries to his race that he wouldn't have had if he didn't have an e-bike category.
Right.
One of the guys just happened to be really fast.
I'm not saying that people shouldn't do it, but like then you start to get into this point where like we really have to have strict rules about like what are the max speeds and throttle speeds for like what you can do on the e-bike. I don't know. Whatever.
Separate start.
Or you put them in there and you're like, there's no awards for this. This is just funsies. Like go at it. And maybe that's the way it was. I don't know. I just then no motor pacing. I just feel like there's a lot of weirdness to the e-bike racing.
That could have been managed a little bit better, but it is what it is.
There were no awards. We got tamales at the end.
That's
everybody
nice.
had
That's a good
tamales.
award.
So that was pretty decent.
So Lance made a few good points, and then what I was going to talk about earlier with the cyclocross race is like you've got something that used to have 9,500 people that would show up and do these races over the course of a 6 or 7 or 8 race series. That is absolutely massive. Yes. And now we're like, hopefully maybe you'll get to like 1,500 for that same race series for the total number of entries, or 2,000 or somewhere in there, you know?
I wonder if it is as it seems though, racing and racing bikes used to be so popular and it's not anymore, or whether those times were themselves exceptional, you know, where there was a brief period where something happened to inspire people to ride and race bikes, and then that was transitory. Like how long did those golden years last?
Yeah.
I mean, racing bicycles has always been kind of a niche sport anyway.
Sure.
It's not as popular as it may seem as insiders.
Yeah.
And it's always prone to go with the fluctuations, the trends of the day.
Yeah. Well, it's just, for me, it's like, do you look at a specific discipline and say that it's down because of the same reason of all the other disciplines? Or is it a culmination of a bunch of different things? So going back to the cyclocross thing, is like, there's a lot of manufacturers that just flat out do not make a cyclocross bike anymore because the sport on the whole has really retracted.
So hard to find.
And they decided, instead of making these bikes that are harder for us to sell, we're just going to make gravel bikes. So they allocated all the resources to building gravel bikes now. And so to go out and get a proper cyclocross bike, no joke, it's going to cost you a lot of money. I think
you have to custom make one.
Yep.
By a custom builder, or there might be 2 manufacturers that still make cyclocross
I know that like
bikes.
Cervelo makes them because that's what Wout rides. I'm sure Canyon probably makes one too for MVP, right?
Does Giant still make one?
Maybe. I'm probably, but there's not. It's very limited for the bikes that you can get, and they are crazy expensive. Have you looked at Cervelo to see what those bikes cost?
No.
I think the least expensive one I saw this a little bit ago, I think it was like 7,000, and their top shelf one was closer to 10,000. Like, how many people want to get into a sport and go pay $7,000 to $10,000 to go do a handful of races for a short period of time during the end of the year?
$6,500, $3,000 for a frame and fork.
Exactly.
But there's very like we alluded to earlier. There's very little difference between a cyclocross bike and a gravel bike in practice. There are differences, but you can be perfectly competitive riding your gravel bike.
But Lance will tell you that there's a
race.
pretty big difference when it comes to all the tight stuff and being able to navigate through things a lot quicker.
Yeah, tight.
And the higher bottom bracket for the barriers.
It's a difference between. It feels to me, when I race my gravel bike, it's like driving a bus, and when I race my cyclocross bike, it's like racing a race car.
So it's fine for me to attribute my poor performance at the cyclocross race to my bike.
You just suck, Ian. I find it very interesting that like now the discussion is like,
There's all these gravel bikes that can be used for cyclocross. And like, had we had this, and I know we probably did have this discussion. If people ever go back and listen to our old podcast, it was the opposite. It was like, can you, like, there's all these cyclocross bikes. Can you use these for gravel stuff? And it was, now I just feel like it's very flip flopped.
Yeah.
Actually, on Saturday, I actually raced my gravel bike in the cyclocross race because my derailleur bricked on me and on my cyclocross bike during the pre-ride the day before. And so I raced my gravel bike.
You raced the bus.
I raced the bus. And there weren't as many super tight corners, so it didn't affect me too much.
So part of the question then, and we'll get into a few of the other disciplines in just a second. For cyclocross, does cyclocross, to keep its numbers up, need to adapt to the changing marketplace of bikes that are available and go from being cyclocross to maybe gravelcross? Change the format a little bit, make it a little bit more specific to a gravel bike.
Or what if it was more just like less traditional cyclocross, like turns weren't sharp?
Well, yeah, that's what I'm talking about. You're sanitizing it so that you can be more competitive on a gravel bike.
Exactly. What's happening is people are finally realizing that a cyclocross race is a bicycle race ruined by putting unnecessary barriers, impediments to your progress.
Tell us how you really feel, Ian.
And ways to make you fall off your bike. Put all that in the way of a perfectly good bicycle race, and people are just realizing that.
It would be cool to do, like, have some of my cross country races and just be like, and we would do the exact same course, and you bike it the next day.
Yeah, we've talked about this before.
We've talked about this and I just put on a big race like a week ago. And I was like, oh, it'd be so cool to just be like, the race is set up. Like, just go out on bikes and do it. But it would be the most cakewalk cyclocross race.
So to a promoter, you know, they've got to be looking at all of these different options. What would happen if somebody decided like, hey, gravel is all that in a bag of chips and that's where the industry is going? What if we already have gravel races, but what if we had gravel circuit races, gravel criteriums, gravel cyclocross races, all on gravel bikes? And just make it a thing. I mean, would that grow the sport?
Maybe
of cycling on the whole?
We actually had one in Obra this year.
Yeah.
Before the cyclocross season started, there was what was called a kermesse, and it was basically the laps were like 2 miles long, and normally a cyclocross course,
gravel.
it's like short track gravel, and you didn't have to dismount anywhere. There were no barriers, but we did like 8 laps of this 2 mile course, and it was just like that.
You know, if you could find a few courses that are in that like 2 to 6 mile range, and you do laps based on whatever distance you're trying to accomplish, I think that people might eat that up. And if you don't, you make it challenging, but don't make it like cyclocross challenging where you're having to get off and shoulder your bike or jump over barriers, but still make it a somewhat challenging where you do slow people down and make it to where you can clean that, but you might have to get off and run up. Like that could be fun. I think that people might enjoy that.
But I think from a promoter standpoint, you know, a lot of these people that are involved in putting these races on are just passionate about that discipline, that sport.
Yeah, that's true.
And even though they are not making as much money as they would like to, even though they may have sleepless nights because attendance is down, the main reason they're putting on a cyclocross race is because they love cyclocross and the traditions and the everything that goes with it.
I 100% agree with you there, but for that promoter, how sustainable is it for you to put in those long days leading up to it and fronting all of the money and hoping and like just praying that like you're going to have enough people show up just to break even?
Knowing and the amount of work that goes into constructing those courses.
That's just not sustainable. I mean, when the Cross Crusade was doing 9,500, race entries for that season, I'm sure they made a ton of cash.
They made a ton of cash.
Yeah, which is great. You want to see that happen.
It ended up being a fight about ownership of
because of all the cash. Yeah, but now you're in a position to where like, crap, are we going to break even? Is this something that I want to keep doing? So it's got to be financially stable for the promoter to want to keep coming back and do that. There's got to be a reward to the effort that they're putting in. And I just don't think that that's sustainable. And I think that ultimately with the membership or the race entries coming down, you're going to see promoters go down and then you're going to see the sport kind of start to, contract. So, but just looking at it from a different perspective, I think that's something you got to do. I don't think there's a problem with mountain biking other than mountain bikes are expensive. I think that they've got great venues. I think it's well run, at least here in the Pacific Northwest. I don't. You said that the numbers were probably down just a skosh.
They were down a little bit this year.
So I'm sure that there's little tweaks, and the person who runs most of that, Mike Ripley, who's been on the podcast before, I'm sure is very keen to that, and I'm sure he's making the little tweaks necessary and understands that, there's going to be some ebb and flow in there. Road racing is obviously, I feel like it's kind of coming back a little bit, but I still don't see the numbers that it used to be.
Way down, still way down.
You can point right at the fact that people aren't riding the road bike quite as much just because it's not safe to ride on the road as much. So, I mean, every discipline is going to have its issues, and you could probably try and tweak all those things, but, there still seems like there's a global thing that's going on here. And I think you alluded to that a little bit with respect to the cost of it all, the economy. But I think
so I'm sorry to interrupt.
Go ahead.
That idea that people aren't doing road races because they're afraid to be out on the road because of the traffic and so on. That doesn't equate to what you were saying earlier with more people are actually riding bikes and buying bikes and
they're not
being cyclists, but they're not, they don't want to get into the competitive side of it.
I would say that we see a lot more recreational people at the lab now than we do the competitive athlete who's out training to do stuff.
Yeah.
And a lot of those people are riding in areas that it's very low traffic and they're not being competitive and they're riding on, gravel and dirt and stuff like that. So, and there are a ton of e-bikes that come in too, but I don't know. There's also, I feel like I don't know if it's just me and it's me just like transposing this on everybody. I feel like people in general have just been overly busy this year. Like there's a lot of people you talk to and they'll just say like, I really wanted to, and I've got this, and this going on. And I just feel like on the whole that temperature has raised a bit. And I think that might have a little bit to do with the numbers at racing, at group rides and everything like that, causing those numbers to come down a bit. So thoughts there? I don't know. There's just so many things I think are playing factors, but there has to be a couple bigger things that we're just missing, at least.
I'm not the right one to make a comment about that because I'm not busier.
I feel like people are super busy too. But that again, it's definitely us just being like, our lives are a mess. So
maybe the problem is I just need to get healthy and go back out and ride bikes and get people excited again. I get tired.
You make a difference, Jake.
Yeah, that do.
I appreciate that. That kind of bothers me though, because I want people to be excited regardless,
Yeah.
So.
I think it's weird though. I mean, you've only got there was a discussion on Slack about our own team, Down Cycling, a couple of weeks ago that pointed out how such a small percentage of people that are actually on a bicycle racing team are going actively racing. So that underscores what you're saying. There's tremendous enthusiasm to be out on your bike and doing cycling things, but when it, then there's a disconnect between that and
pinning on a number
or attending these races. And so what is that? Is it the money? Is it the fear of injury? Is it the pressure of sort of being outed, like your performance or your capabilities are on show to everybody at a race and a group ride, whereas if you're just at home posting your Strava rides, you're getting all these kudos and likes and everybody's impressed with your bike racing or your bike riding. But
I do also think that there's something to be said, and I just really love riding bikes, and I love connecting with people who love riding bikes, and I love being competitive and racing and inspiring, and I love like encouraging people to come out and try it, and then like encouraging them to keep coming out and getting stronger. And we saw that for a lot of years doing the flogging ride, which was great. And we've seen it doing a bunch of our group rides. We've had group rides where 30, 40, 50 people show up, and it's fantastic. And I get excited about that. And there are people on it, like Lance, if he puts something out there, people are going to kind of come to it. But I do think that there is something to be said about not just for our team, but for other teams and for organizations and for communities, for people to kind of step up and be like a big source of inspiration can make a huge difference. Like, I'm not putting him on the spot, but I'm going to use him as an example. If for some reason Dr. Hannell decided that he wanted to be the big cheerleader, the one that wanted to push for the teams, I would be so excited to show up to anything that he puts on the calendar because I love the guy. He's one of the best human beings on the face of the planet, and he always puts a smile on my face. He's always encouraging. And damn it, the guy always kicks everybody's butt and always has awesome stories and has the best breakdowns on Strava of like what happened, and it's animated. I hear his voice when I'm reading through his race recaps, and I want to be a part of that. So having more people like Dr. Hannell step up and like be leaders with respect to trying to encourage people and get them excited about going out and racing would do wonders for our team, for others' teams, for clubs, for race organizations. I mean, what would happen if Dr. Hannell took over OBRA and he was the sole voice of getting people motivated to go out and race all the different disciplines?
Don't throw him under the bus like that.
Right.
So,
poor guy.
Yeah.
I don't think the situation is dire. You know, I don't
No,
think,
but you want to get ahead of the curve.
Yeah, you know, we went out. I think our group to Salvi was only about 25 people or so this Sunday, so it was small, but still, that's a lot of guys doing an organized group ride. And then we went past another group that were hanging out at Cycle Path. That was another Sunday ride going on, same amount of people.
Sure.
And so, you know, there's it's
stuff out
out.
there.
The interest is out there. I've been to PIL this last summer where you've had 300 people out there racing. It's
Gotcha. All right, my one last diatribe here real quick. I mean, I'm
tired of telling your friend
No, wait.
Jake to shut up here?
Oh, shut up, Jake.
I'll shut up. Then. Never mind. Let's do it. One last thing. Matt LeGrand, go for it.
A whole bunch of videos going live. If you're interested in any of the Apple Watch stuff, I posted videos about the Apple Watch Ultra 3, the Apple Watch Series 11, and just this morning posted a video about the Apple Watch SE3, which is basically it's got a lot of the same internals as like all the expensive watches, but it's $250 instead of $400 or $800. So it's an impressive device for the impressive device for the price, and it shouldn't rhyme, but whatever. So check those videos out if you are on the Apple side of stuff. Whole bunch more videos coming soon. The Phoenix 8 Pro, got that on the wrist. Got to work on a video about that. I want to do I'm sorry, this wrist. I want to talk about the watch, and then maybe do another video where I really focus on satellite stuff, where I maybe even compare the Apple Watch Ultra 3 satellite connectivity to the Garmin Phoenix 8 Pro.
Yeah.
So
cool.
Fun stuff coming up. It's a busy season for sure.
Yeah.
Techtober.
Techtober. There you go. That's
I'll probably try and post another video today if Lance doesn't kill himself. And then, I have a sponsored video coming up for a pair of headphones.
Ooh,
I don't usually do sponsored videos.
Who was the headphone company, or can you say?
Tozo. It's Tozo headphones. They're kind of like over-ear noise cancellation, and they're extremely affordable. And they want to do a sponsored video, and I'm like, here you go.
Cool.
Sweet.
Let's do it.
Cool.
We'll see. That'll come out in another week or two.
Gibbo, one last thing.
Yeah, I'm leaving for the UK tomorrow, and I'm also going to Nice in the south of France next week.
Playing the rain
for 4 nights. Yeah, it's supposed to rain, but Nice is one of those interesting places. It's on the south coast of France, not far from Monaco. There's some absolutely classic riding down there. It's very hilly. I've been looking forward to it. It's going to be something different. Never been there before, never experienced it. I'll try to do a better job of documenting it. Take my GoPro this time and see if I can actually do a better job of documenting it.
I won't be there to follow you around.
No, Lance is not going to be there. How am I going to know where to ride?
It's a good point. I made all the routes.
Lance makes all the routes.
He can't see his map on his computer anyway, so he just follows me. Oh, we're going right here.
That's funny.
Yeah, that'll be interesting.
Noise.
But that's all I got.
Friggin' Epler.
I've got lots of YouTube videos that have come out. I've done one at almost every race that I've done. I'm racing tonight in about 5 hours at Trophy Cup. And we'll see if I can bunny hop the barriers tonight.
Be careful.
Be careful.
I just wanted to say thank you to a customer. I'm not going to say his name, but he came in and we kept I've seen him in before, and I didn't know who he was, and he always kind of looks at you like you get that feeling like somebody looks at you like they know you or they want to ask you something but they don't. And then when he came in this last time, he decided that he was going to talk to me, and he's like, I got a question for you. I'm like, what's that? And he's like, your name's Jake, right? I'm like, yeah. And he's like, were you involved in a crash with a car about 7 or 8 years ago? I'm like, yeah, actually I was. And he was like, I was out in like the Washougal area. I'm like, uh-huh. He's like, okay. He's like, I thought that was you. I'm like, what? He's like, I was one of the paramedics that was first to help you out. There was the first person that was there was a police officer, and then the several paramedics that came down to get me stabilized, to get me pulled out of this ravine on a flat board with a rope and pulley system. It was him. And,
oh my gosh.
And he's like, I've been in here and I've seen you. And he's like, I recognize that guy from somewhere, but I didn't want to just start asking you random questions. And then he walked in and he's like, that guy looks, I think that might be him. And that's when he asked me the question. I'm like, sure enough. And he was super respectful about it. He's like, you know, as soon as I said yes, he's like, oh, I was one of the paramedics, and I totally respect if you don't want to talk about this, if it's hard. I'm like, no, absolutely not. I'm like, I want to hear everything you have to say because I have zero memory. Like the only thing I know about what happened is what's been told to me by, I think there was a police officer that told me that, you know, about the other police officer who was the first one there. Then when they discovered that it was actually me, that or that I was a part of this whole thing, because I landed 115 feet away from where the impact spot was, down a 30-foot ravine, and I was in a big blackberry thicket. So
I couldn't see you from the road.
No, and my bike was in 9 pieces over in this tall grass, and you couldn't see it. So they thought it was just Car V Sean, right? And Sean was, you know, like
Sean was still on the road.
Yeah, bleeding everywhere, a mess and all that stuff, face down. And he's like, my friend, there's another, they're like, no, just settle down. Like, he's like, no, there's another person. And they one of the people got up, started looking around, like, there's another bike. And so the police officer kind of, you know, figured out the trajectory, and he ran down there and went bombing down this thing into the middle of this big blackberry thicket. And if you know anything about these big blackberry bushes, they're riddled with these terrible thorns.
Unforgiving.
That just like destroy clothes and arms and everything. And he was the first one down there, but the paramedic was the one that came down there. And he said by the time he got down there that I had come to, that I was, you know, coherent and I was conversing, but he could tell that I had, you know, a pretty bad concussion. He had no idea, you know, to what degree, but he was like asking me questions, and he's like, yeah, so what hurts the worst, whatever. And I'm like, I told him, like, I think my shoulder is subluxated or dislocated. And he's like, and then in that moment, he's like, not very many people know to use the word subluxated. So, and he took my word for it, but you know, he didn't share too much more other than that part of it. But, you know, he said that he was part of the whole process. And I'm like, that was super cool to make that connection, because cool. you don't think that you're ever going to like remember this stuff after a certain amount of time. You're just gonna have to live with what you know, and there's nothing else. But I don't know, it's just kind of neat to have that moment, and to have somebody give their perspective and, you know, talk about the things that they did to help you. I'm like, I'm super thankful for that. So thank you, sir. I appreciate that.
Yeah, that's fantastic.
Very cool.
Good story.
Yeah. Anywho, when are we going to do this again?
As soon as possible.
Yeah. There is a strong chance that I might be able to make this happen next week, because that new website thing that's been eating up a ton of my time, and the planning for a move, and all the other bazillion things that have been going on in my life should start to like slow down a little bit. So maybe next week. Yeah. And then I've been talking with a couple other people, or one person in particular that's going to probably join us. We might have a guest, and there's some other things that might be going on. So we do have some hope and some promise and some light at the end of the tunnel for us to get back on track. But yeah, sorry for being the once a month podcast now. It's always been the goal to do this weekly, but we'll get back to it. Cool. Anything else?
Love it.
All right.
That's it.
Thank you for listening. We will be back one of these days. Until then, bye for now.